What's up, everyone? It's Ninja, and you just heard.
Welcome into another episode of You Heard, where athletes, influencers, and celebrities help us get ready for Sunday. In this week's episode, we've got professional gamer and streamer Ninja joining us. Ninja, thanks so much for being on. We know you are a huge Detroit fan because you grew up in that area. You've got the Lions jersey on. When did you really start cheering for this team?
First off, thank you, Maddy. Nice to be here. And my brother John, my oldest brother John, is the one who got us into me and my other brother Chris into rooting for the Lions. And that was probably, I was rooting for them when I was like 16, 17, but I didn't really start like watching games with them and really getting into football until I went away to college with my older brother for 1 year. We roomed together. And we had there was one Lions bar. I was in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. And there was one Lions bar, it was Chewy's bar. And I would go there. I'd get a root beer. My brother would get a beer, and we just watch the Lions play. So that's when I really started to like fall in love with the team and watch them. That was like during the Stafford, Calvin Johnson era.
So you fell in love with this team before they had some really good pieces, but then they went through this era where it was tough to win games. And here the Lions are, and they're 12-1 right now, one of the hottest teams in football. How fun has it been to follow this team from not making playoffs to being a team that's talked about in the Super Bowl conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, I'm waiting for someone to pinch me. But, with Dan Campbell and everyone's really done over there with just changing the whole outlook of the team and the energy and what it's all about, right? Like, you think of Detroit, you think of grit, and just watching how we've drafted the last 4 years and how each, important piece of our first and second rounds are all still vital pieces to our team right now. Whereas in the past, I feel like, we would have our first round picks would just be wasted, or they wouldn't even be on our team next year or the year after that. It just means we're just drafting really well, and it feels incredible, right? We're doing it right, and I feel like we're setting ourselves up for just obviously if we continue this pace, to just be a top contender forever, which would be incredible.
You guys have the right coach to do that. It's Dan Campbell. I mean, he takes the job, starts talking about biting off kneecaps, and then you see as this team starts winning and you get a look inside the locker room and how he breaks down a huddle, how he congratulates a team after a victory. It's easy to see why guys love playing for him. Why do you love him as the coach of the Detroit Lions?
It's so many reasons. His energy is obviously electric, and I always feel like, I always joke about it, like I want to run through a wall for Dan Campbell. Like I would, you hear him in that locker room breaking it down after a win, handing out game balls. And I don't know. I think, like, do I think that type of coach would thrive everywhere in the NFL? Like, I don't. But I think that, like, and will he always be like that? Or like, will he kind of maybe like once the we start winning a little bit more and we become, we're not the underdogs anymore. Like, will he kind of chill out and take more of like just like more of a leadership role and not more of a hype man role? Like maybe, but right now he is, and hopefully will forever be the perfect coach that we needed. Somebody to just be like, listen, I know we're bad, right? I know we were bad, right? And like, I know that this city needs, like, we need this. And I feel like that, yeah, just I love him. I love everything about him. And I think the players do too. They want to play for him. It's exciting. He's fun. And he's tough. And like, that's the culture that we're building there right now. And like, I mean, God, I want to suit up sometimes. I went to one of their practices and I was like, get me out there. Let me kick a couple balls. Let me see if I got it. But Jake Bates is doing a great job, so they don't need me.
That's definitely true. So in this matchup against the Bills and the Lions, you've got the best offense in the NFL and the Lions going up against the second best offense in the NFL and the Bills. It's going to be a matchup to watch. I mean, it's the second best offense in Buffalo going up against the second best defense in the Lions. You look at this matchup across the board. You look at the stats that each team has put up over the last 13 weeks of the season, the last 14 weeks of the season, and it has the makings of what could be an incredible game. Why are you excited to watch these two teams face off?
I mean, Josh Allen right now is obviously lead candidate for the MVP race, and he's just having one of the greatest years of his entire career. He's protecting the ball, which is one thing that he never really used to do. You could always count on Josh Allen to throw a pick or two, trying to do too much. And he's just not doing that anymore. So it's going to be really tough. And our defense is kind of beaten up right now. So I think you're going to I think you're going to have pretty much an incredibly similar game that we saw last week or this Thursday,
Hmm.
or no, I think it was Sunday night with the
Yep.
Rams. It's just going to be a
Yep.
shootout. I really truly see that. The Bills' offense is obviously their shining point, and same with the Lions right now. So, I mean, I hope we win. We're currently favored to win
Right.
right
Right.
now, but if we can't stop Josh Allen, it's going to be tough, right?
Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
And
it's scary. It's gonna be an incredible game.
that's how our fans are talking about this matchup, and like it's going to be really hard to stop Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Like that all starts at the line of scrimmage. They're so good. They've combined for 24 total touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
So while the Bills have really tough elements to play against, so do the Detroit Lions. And who knows, maybe this could be a Super Bowl preview where we see these two teams
How
match
sick would
up
that
again
be?
in February. At the end of the day, I think that would be incredible. Two fan bases who really deserve it too, right?
I love the Bills. I've always loved the Bills. I've loved Josh Allen. So I was rooting for you guys like every year that we weren't there and you guys were making runs. I really wanted you guys to do well. I've always liked your team. So yeah, no, I agree. We both need it, and if we both end up there, that'd be pretty perfect.
I think it would too. Thinking about the gaming world as it relates to the NFL, everything that players go through leading up to a game, being in a game, do you feel like there's some commonalities in those two worlds? Being a gamer, you're always going up against other people. You're trying to win, similar to the world of an NFL player. Have you found super close similarities with an NFL player? Maybe just the schedule or something like that.
I would say that everything from like motivation, dedication to, preparing yourself for the match that you're going into competitively, and then like to teammates and to coaches, and like, do people beef and then they get dropped because there's beef, and like there's 100% like when it comes to like the nuances of professionalism in terms of sports, like absolutely, it's the exact same. The only difference is that one's obviously physical, and video games is behind a screen, but all of that stuff is 100%. I've gone through it. I've been competing. I haven't really competed lately in the last couple of years, but I've competed for 10 years professionally in multiple different games across multiple titles, and it's like, I see what other players go through, like in the NBA, and it doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, you're dealing with teammates, and you have to rely on them, and sometimes you have better chemistry with one than the other, and there are like some weird beef forms outside of the game, and there's still like it's completely similar. So yeah, I think there are a lot of similarities, but a little bit, just a lot more respect to be able to take a hit from a 300-pound 98% muscle lineman as an NFL player.
That's very true. The gaming community is so big, and if you're a professional league or a big company, you should be getting involved with the gaming community because there's such potential to reach new fans, to reach young fans. How have you seen the NFL try to connect with the gaming community?
I well, the fact that they have Madden, right, is and they've had that for the last like what feels like 3 decades.
Yeah.
That's one way. I don't necessarily feel like that's a way to connect. I think it's a way to obviously just like get your content out there, maybe get
Right.
I don't know, fans to enjoy something when the football season is not happening. But I think one of the things that they did was like when I was in that Super Bowl commercial like a couple years ago, that was one of the coolest things I've ever done, and I was obviously one of the biggest gamers in the world at the time then. So I feel like that was a great like collab. I was super blessed to be a part of that, even if it was like a millisecond cameo, but that's totally fine by me. So I think just continuing to do things like that, like getting involved across the board. I know that Jinxie's one of the biggest gamers in the world as well right now, and top streamer, and he just recently went out to the Buccaneers. I think it was either a practice or a game, but they had him down on the sideline. So I mean, just keep doing that, right? You're trying to get like, what do you do when you're the NFL and you have, like, how do you get new audience? You almost have all of America captured, right? So you have to just continue to keep going after, different audiences, and gaming is definitely one thing that my brothers and I have figured out that not a lot of gamers love sports. It's but it's mostly just because they haven't given it a chance.
Right.
So. But yeah, I think it's just reaching out to content creators and streamers that play video games, and trying to get their communities involved, I think is one thing that the NFL could do if they want reach a different audience.
So when you start to talk to NFL players about like, what are your hobbies? What do you do in your free time? A lot of these guys just want to be sitting during their free time because they use their bodies so much throughout the week. And then on Sundays, Thursdays, whenever you're playing a game, they've got to have time to recover and chill. And you can do that when you're gaming. It's a mind game, but you're not going out there and beating up guys. So you hear a lot of NFL players say, you know, I love gaming. I love playing this game, that game. I love gaming with my teammates or guys on different teams. Which NFL players love gaming that you've come across?
Tyreek Hill. I know that Tyreek's a huge gamer. He loves Fortnite. He actually might be one of the smarter like content creator, like NFL content creators that kind of like leaned into streaming. And what I mean by that is like he you know, he's done like skits in Fortnite, which is like not a lot of people do like ongoing skits in Fortnite that are NFL players. Like they'll play and they'll stream and they'll like post wins or cool clips and stuff like that. But he had this thing where, you know, these bananas would always just like troll him, and it's actually just hilarious. So Tyreek's one of them. There's a couple of others. I don't know if Brock Wright's a gamer, but we recently had him on one of our shows. I know that he does game, and yeah, I don't know. No one really reaches out to game with me personally, or at least doesn't DM me. So I don't know many specifically, but I know for a fact the Cheetah is big gamer, and a lot of them probably are. Yeah.
I love that. So Fortnite OG Chapter 1 Season 1 is now back, and I know so many people are so pumped to play the 2017 version of the game. Why are you really excited? I know you've already played it, but what are some of the most exciting elements of that OG Season 1 Chapter 1?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just so thirsty for nostalgia lately in these last couple of years, and just in every aspect, not just video games. So it seems to be like an ongoing thing as you get older, where, you know, if you can just get a little, I mean, I watch an old movie and I cry. Like, you know, the Santa Claus, it's one of my favorite movies, my wife and I's favorite Christmas movie. And there's just the nostalgia around it, right? Where like it's the music and I just immediately start bawling. So I feel like that's like, you know, with Fortnite, it's already been, you know, 7 years since OG came out. And yeah, a lot of people just they felt like it was simpler. They felt like the game was just better. And Epic finally was just like, you know what, obviously there's enough people that want this, so we're going to give you guys a playlist, and it's just going to roll out throughout the rest of next year. So it's not going away, which is great. Last year it came back for like a month and then they took it away. So, I mean, I love it. I'm already having a blast. My viewers are excited about it. It's bringing back a lot of people that have never played before, or that haven't played in a very long time, even some of my own friends. So that was kind of the beauty of Fortnite to begin with. It was one of the first games that really implemented cross-platform, where like a player could play on Xbox and PlayStation and PC with one another, and it brought a lot of people together back in the day. And I think, you know, it's happening all over again.
That's awesome. Are you even more excited to play Tilted Towers again in Season 2?
Oh, absolutely. The map currently right now is a little dry with places to land, but Season 2, when that comes out, Tilted Towers comes back, yeah, you'll find me there.
I love it. So you recently appeared on the St. Brown podcast with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Equanimous St. Brown. Why do you love when those two worlds collide?
Dude, okay, so first off, I had a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like hesitation about how I feel about players creating content, doing podcasts throughout the season, like live during the season. But obviously they have enough downtime, and it clearly isn't distracting Amon-Ra at all. So I started watching it, and dude, they're hilarious, man. Their banter back and forth. It's like this dry, constant humor waiting for the other person to break. It's hilarious. And just any inside scoop that we can get of that locker room that isn't already on, you know, camera when they're doing the breakdown after a game, or that's not caught in an interview, is just delightful. I'm obsessed with the Lions and everyone on that team. So like, to hear stories that we haven't heard from anyone else, because, you know, Amon-Ra is sharing those experiences and those stories with us through his podcast. I love it. I feel like, you know, there are definitely personalities on every team that could do this for their teams, and I know that the fans would just eat it up like we have.
Definitely. I got a flashback to 2015 for a hot sec. You appeared on Family Feud, and you said you were a professional video game player, and Steve Harvey encouraged you and said, hey man, go follow your dreams. Have you looked back on that and all the success that you've had in such a short amount of time? I mean, now you have more than 19 million followers on Twitch and have close to 24 million subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, it's always a nice throwback to when, you know, to see in that video and you know the YouTube videos sometimes. And like I'll even get people who will like meet me and they're like, bro, you were on Family Feud in like 2015. Like even that, like I was just starting to date my now wife then, and you know we were in. It was crazy. It was a crazy story. We're just sitting in her dorm, and we're watching Family Feud. I'm like, God, these families are so dumb. These questions are so easy. And then Jess just jokes around, and she's like, well, why don't you just apply and see? I was like, okay, like figured out how to do it, sent in the video, and boom. So, but yeah, it was really cool, right? Because I remember Steve was like dumbfounded. He was like, "Video games? Like what? How's that even a thing?" And now, you know, everyone knows that you know, you can either be a professional gamer or a streamer or content creator now.
And for so long, I mean, you know, you hear from parents and it's like, I like playing video games or I like making videos or I like streaming before
Yeah.
streaming was even a thing. And it was so looked down upon. But now it's obvious to see you can make a real big career out of this. You can make some real money and you can make some incredible connections that
Yeah.
that cross into, you know, the NFL. And you've done so. So I think it's so cool for kids who may have a dream and be able to see somebody like you, like, hey, this guy made it. Maybe I can do it as well with a new game down the road that pops up. So that's so awesome. One more question for you. I mean, you took to the pop culture world and you got to play Fortnite back in 2018 with Drake, Travis Scott, JuJu Smith-Schuster. How did that whole thing come together? Did that feel like a surreal moment too?
Yeah, it felt like it felt like I was hallucinating. Like I was already streaming like 18 hours, 16 hours a day already throughout like the first year of Fortnite. So you know, I was missing DMs and collabs and like I if I wasn't, you know, sleeping or if I wasn't streaming, I was sleeping. So yeah, one day I was just streaming. I think it was a Wednesday or a Tuesday, and my whole chat is just like, "Oh my God, Champagne Poppy just followed you, bro." And I was like, "Who's Champagne Poppy?" Like, I didn't even know like anything about Instagram. I was just uploading to it, my clips to it, and they're like, "Bro, that's Drake's Instagram account." I'm like, "Oh my God!" So we obviously followed him back, and then he was just like, "Hey man, like let's game sometime." I'm like, "Hell yeah, let me know." And we ended up just scheduling it a couple of times, and like, you know, he ended up just being late or missing it because he had to go in the studio. He was recording an album. It was whatever, right? And me at the time, I felt like a little ant who was just like, okay, that's fine. Like, let me know when you can. Like, I wasn't, you know, offended or upset. Literally, I will be here. I don't think I left my house for the first year. And then one day I got off stream. After streaming for like 14 hours, and I think he DM'd me. He was just like, "Hey, bro, I'm on. Let's go." I'm like, "What?" Like, no schedule. Like, no, like, I'll see you in an hour. So I immediately ran downstairs, turned the stream back on, and boom, it was one of the most iconic nights of my life.
That's so cool. And so cool how, you know, those worlds collide in so many different ways. Last question for you. What do you have coming up?
Oh, geez, Andres would probably know more. You know, we got just the amazing, better tasting, better for you drink, dairy-free, gluten-free. It's called Nutcase. 3 flavors: chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. You can go to drinknutcase.com. We're only shipping through the USA right now, but it's phenomenal, delicious, and a nice little supplement. And if you have dairy issues, you know, no dairy in it. It's phenomenal. So I got that, and then you know, nothing really for the rest of this year. I'm honestly just chilling. Hopefully, being in the Super Bowl in February, watching the Lions play.
And good for you. I mean, it's so many people, regardless of what avenue you're working in, people who have grinded it out and made it. Like you said, you were streaming for like 14 hours a day, 18 hours a day. If you weren't streaming, you were sleeping. People who have grinded in that way deserve some time to chill. So that's awesome to hear.
Thank you, Maddy. Yeah, I've been definitely doing that the last couple of years. I've actually just started streaming a lot more recently, which has been a lot of fun, finding it like my passion again for it. So I'm excited for next year, excited for the rest of this year, and excited for our match. Is it Sunday night, right?
Sunday afternoon, 4:25 game, a
Let's
big
go.
one against the Detroit
How
Lions.
is that how do we have the afternoon slate?
It's because these networks come in and they get to choose, and then they'll block the games and they'll say you can't flex this into Sunday night or Monday night. This is number 1 on our list, so you're not taking it. So that's how that happens.
Well, it's really the only 325 game to. Actually, no, it isn't. Sorry, I digress. But okay, yeah, I'll see you then.
I know it's America's Game of the Week, so CBS's pregame crew will be there for pre and post, so they're gonna make it as big of a thing as it can be. Their pregame crew came to one of our games, and they had guys jumping through tables and doing funny things like that. So I'm sure they're gonna mix, some Detroit things in with the pregame show, so it'll be fun to watch.
Cool. Can't wait.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, and looking forward to this huge game on Sunday.
Awesome. Thank you, Maddy.